It can be really hard to know where to start when you first decide on a national park. So, if you're visiting Arches National Park and have just started your planning, then this episode is for you because I'm going to go over all of the basic essentials for the park. We're going to look at an overview of the layout of the park, the main highlights of the park, and some of the key things to know about how to visit Arches National Park, Utah. Hi, I'm James Ian, and I've written numerous guides and published several itineraries for Arches National Park. At the end of the episode, you're going to have a much better understanding of what the park is like, what to expect, and how to navigate it. Now, from there, you'll need to get deeper into planning all of the logistics, of course, but this is a great place to start. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe right now. If you're listening somewhere else, follow my podcast to get the episodes as they come out. Be sure to stay to the end because I'm going to tell you the arch that I think is actually better than the most famous arch in the park, which is Delicate Arch, and it's one that almost nobody talks about. But first, let's get started with the basics.
Welcome to National Parks Collecting with James Ian, the national park expert. He is here to help you have the best national parks trips ever. Get tips, discover hidden gems, and learn all you need to know. This is your path to collecting national parks experiences, memories, and maybe even a stamp or two.
Arches National Park is home to over 2,000 natural arches. Despite that, it's not the hugest national park in the country, but it does require some planning. There's one main road that goes through the park. This is the 22-mile Scenic Road. And there are a couple of short roads that are offshoots off the main road, but this is the main route through the park. The national park lies about 5 miles from Moab, which is the main gateway town. And there's just one entrance to the park. Just inside the Arches National Park entrance is the visitor center. There's only one. The Arches National Park Visitor Center is really nice. I really like it. It's got some really interesting exhibitions. Of course, you can always talk to rangers, get maps, get updates on what's going on in the park, and you can learn how the natural arches are formed. There's also some cool sculptures by artist Matthew Gray Palmer that were commissioned when the new visitor center was opened in 2005. So stop off at the visitor center, and then the road heads up a couple of really broad switchbacks up to a slightly elevated area, and this is the main section of the park. As I mentioned, there's one scenic drive that goes through the park with a couple of offshoots. When you go along the drive, and I have a video that goes into more detail about all of the stops on the scenic drive, which you can watch here. You'll first come to Park Avenue, which is kind of a canyon between two cliffs. There's one arch, baby arch, tiny little archway up high. Very dramatic though. You'll pass some petrified sand dunes a little bit in the distance. Not super exciting to see, but interesting enough. You'll come to Balanced Rock, which is a pillar with a large boulder sitting on top. Looks like it's balanced there. It is technically connected. Easy walk around that, a little lollipop loop. And then you come to the first side road. This goes to the windows section, and you'll definitely want to go there. There are several really major arches there. There's the two windows, the north and the south window. Opposite that is Turret Arch. And then on the other side of the parking lot is the trail to Double Arch. And this is very cool. There's two arches all kind of connected. It's a fairly short trail to get there. Not a lot of shade, but totally worth it. Back on the main road, you'll go down Salt Valley, and then you'll get to the side road that goes to Delicate Arch. This is the most famous arch in the national park. It's an incredible freestanding arch, and it actually appears on Utah's license plate. It's about a 3-mile hike there and back to get there, so it's not for everybody. If you're not able to do that hike, then a little further down the road, right at the end of the side road, is a viewpoint, pretty distant view of Delicate Arch. But even if you hike to Delicate Arch, you'll be disappointed probably with the view when you get to the viewpoint because it is quite distant. But it does give you a sense of where it's located in terms of the overall geography. So I recommend it anyway. And if you don't have the mobility to hike to Delicate Arch, it's definitely worth going to the viewpoint so you can see the arch even if it's distant. A little further along the main road, you'll come to Fiery Furnace. This is a labyrinth. It's very cool. You can only go there with a permit or on a ranger-led guided hike, which I highly recommend. If you can get a space, you do need to have pretty good mobility. It's not super crazy long, but you'll need to clamber up boulders and squeeze in narrow areas and scramble and shuffle, and it's kind of an experience. There's several more arches there. My favorite arch there is Skull Arch, which is super cool. It looks like a skull. I loved that hike. I really love it. I don't usually love guided hikes, but it is a labyrinth, and I think it would be really easy to get lost. So go for the guided hike. They give you lots of information as well. It's really interesting. And then if you go further along the road, you'll pass a couple of other arches. You'll pass the Trail to Sand Arch, the Trail to Broken Arch and Tapestry Arch. You'll pass Skyline Arch, and then you'll get to the end of the road, which is Devil's Garden. There is the campground. It's the only place to stay inside the park. There's a picnic area there. And it's a trailhead for Devil's Garden, which has 3 connected trails. The easy one is to Landscape Arch, and then there's longer ones to Double O Arch, and then you can continue through Finn Canyon, and there's multiple arches that you'll pass along the way. It's very cool. So that is the park in a nutshell. I mentioned there's only one place to stay inside the park, which is the pretty basic Devil's Garden campground. If you can do that, I love staying there because you're right there, you're in the park, you don't need to spend all that time driving to get there. But most people do stay in Moab, which is the nearest gateway town. It's very convenient. Before we look at more details about Arches National Park, if you're watching this on my @National Parks Collecting YouTube channel and you haven't already, please like and subscribe below. It really does help. Now, I mentioned there's only one place to stay in the park, but along with that means that there's no shops and there's no restaurants. So you do need to make sure that you plan accordingly and pack a picnic lunch with you, because otherwise you need to go out and then back in, and that's a total pain, particularly when there's only one road, so you're going back the same way. Parking is also a pain. The park is small but very popular. When there's no reservation system in place, the National Park Service will close the entrance. This happens a lot in the summer, and you're not allowed to park along the main road, so they actually make you leave and then come back later. Even if you get in, there's several major highlights along the way. They each have their own parking lot, but none of those parking lots are very big. So even though you're in, you may still find parking a problem. So you need to plan carefully around that. You don't need a high clearance vehicle or a 4-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive anywhere in the park. There are no restrictions on RVs or trailers, so that's really nice. To get to Moab, there are several options in terms of airports. None of them are great. The nearest airport is very close. It's Canyonlands Regional Airport, but it's small and the flights are fairly limited. There's also Grand Junction Regional Airport. It's not that close. It's an hour and 45 minutes away. Also somewhat limited flights. It's only a regional airport. So the nearest reasonable sized airport is Salt Lake City International Airport, which is 3 hours and 45 minutes away. So it's good to, I think, include Arches and nearby Canyonlands National Park in a bigger road trip where you're going to other places as well. Canyonlands is nearby, I mentioned. Moab is also the nearest gateway town for that. And there's also Dead Horse Point State Park that's also very nearby. It's kind of a one-trick pony, but the trick is really great. It's this amazing view over the Canyonlands. So I highly recommend adding that on to your trip if you've got the time. So I mentioned that Arches National Park, obviously it's called Arches for a reason. It's home to over 2,000 natural arches. Most of them are in the back country. You won't see nearly that many, but you will see some pretty amazing ones. And I've talked already about Delicate Arch. This is the freestanding arch. It's on Utah's license plate. Another famous one is Landscape Arch. This is on the Devil's Garden Trail, and it's the 3rd longest freestanding arch in the world, the longest in North America. It's pretty impressive. There's also Double Arch and the windows in the windows section. There's Sand Dune Arch, also another of my favorites. When you park there, there's a small parking lot. You'll see this sort of little rocky outcrop in the short distance. You go there and then you go through this super narrow little canyon. It's not much wider than you. And then it opens up into this little area in the middle of this rocky outcrop. You don't see the arch straight away, but it's very cool because you're kind of completely surrounded by this, like this little hole in this cliff. It's very Cool. And then you go around the corner and there's a little arch with a sand dune in the base of it there. It's very fun. I highly recommend it. But none of these are my favorite arch in the park. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. But as you're probably starting to realize, there's a lot to put together. Although it is a relatively small park, that works against it in some ways because parking lots fill up. So you need to be in the right place at the right time. You need to know how long to spend in different places, how long to get between each of these different places, and time each of them at the right time. Some arches are better in the morning or the evening. Some doesn't really matter, but you want to avoid the crowds. So there's just a lot to navigate. And the thing that people share with me that stresses them the most about visiting Arches National Park is how to put everything together into an actual itinerary or plan that makes the most sense and navigates all of this. So this is why I actually created some really detailed itineraries for Arches National Park. There's a 1-day option and then a 2 and a 3-day option. So there's 2 different versions that you can get. There's a link in the show notes below. But let's take a quick walk through now. They start with an overview of the park, so similar to what we've just talked about today, but also some practical information that you need to know. And then there's a really detailed breakdown, like an hour by hour, almost minute by minute, guide to what to do. And they're timed very specifically to be in the right place at the right time. And there's also different options. So not everybody has exactly the same interest or the same energy levels or the same mobility. So you can choose different options at the same area of the park for the same time of day, so you can create your own more customized itinerary or plan. It's also helpful if you're traveling with other people that you can split up for a little bit of the day and then rejoin and continue on together. And then there's all the practical information that you need to actually put the itinerary into action. So there's hiking descriptions and maps, there's driving descriptions and maps, there's tips, there's timings, there's important information, everything that you need to know. They're designed as a plug and play. You can just choose the itinerary. I said there's already some options built in. But if you want to customize it even more, they have all the information in one place that you need to create an even more customized itinerary. And some people do that. Many people use it as is. It's designed to work that way. But some people do create their own even more customized plan. All the information is together in one place, so you don't need to pull it all from different blogs, from different guidebooks, from different videos, etc. Without them, I find people are often really stressed about the planning and it can get really overwhelmed. With them, people find the planning much easier and they just have more confidence knowing that they have the best trip planned for the time that they have available. There's a link in the show notes below. Now, as promised, what's my favorite arch in the park? It's not Delicate Arch, although I do love Delicate Arch. I love them all, but my absolute favorite is Double O Arch. This is on the Devil's Garden Trail. It's the second of the 3 connected trails. It's a little bit of a hike to get there. You do need to hike up and over a fin. That's a little scary if you've got a fear of heights like I do. It's totally worth it. It's doable for people with good mobility. And it's this really dramatic double O. There's 2 O's. There's a small O and then a big O, a big circular arch directly above it. And you can actually clamber up and go through the smaller bottom arch. You climb up a little bit of a slope, very small, and then look back and there's this really dramatic view of these 2 O's. You can see the fin that they're carved from, and then there's more of Devil's Garden beyond. It's my absolute favorite arch in the park. I love it. So I hope that you have a really great trip to Arches. If you want help planning your trip, check the links in the description box below. There's a bunch of planning and booking resources that you can use to plan and book your trip. And keep watching my videos to get even more help so that you can have the best Arches National Park vacation ever. And if you want to get notified about the next episode, subscribe and click below.